leadership here live on EBN TV. It's another Friday. We do this every Friday morning as we look at matters that are dear to us and dear to the heart of Kenyans, things that Kenyans are concerned about. And so welcome to the Leadership Show, and today mainly it's a conversation around the state of the nation. Where are we as a nation, and where are we when it comes to matters of leadership and matters of the economy? Because all these things are the things that Kenyans are concerned about. And with me in studio is David Kamau Wamadhu, a strategist in profession and a leader in this country. Thank you so much, David Kamau, for being here.
Thank you very much,
Robert. And karibu sana.
Asante sana.
How have you been?
It has been good.
It was Easter, so we could not come last Friday.
True, yes.
And yeah.
But I think everything is going on well. We are happy that God has given us yet another opportunity.
All right.
Yes.
We are at a place that Kenyans are concerned about. Are we getting better or are we getting worse? Mm-hmm. That is exactly what Kenyans are concerned about. Mm-hmm. You realize that there are so many voices,
yes.
And the Honorable Raila is talking about going back to the streets. Mm-hmm. And on the side of the government, we can see some positive things that are happening. Mm-hmm. So Kenyans are wondering, who do we listen to?
Yes.
And I think that is where we should begin. As a nation, where do you think we are, and who should we listen to?
Well, I think starting, and that is a very good point, and you have said a very good, important things which is happening in our country. There is a lot of confusion in terms of what is happening right now, because I think Kenya right now is in a state whereby we really need to come together as the people and be able to make Kenya to be a beautiful country.
Yeah.
But what is happening is that in terms of our leadership, they are actually bringing a lot of confusion in the system. In the sense that, like yesterday, I was watching and I was just hearing the leader for the opposition saying that after Ramadan, that we are going to have demonstrations together with the talks.
Yeah.
That is not really a negotiation. And it is actually something which is not acceptable. Because you've not even started that discussion. And then you are actually pushing people to the streets. So you look at it and you ask yourself, are we serious about what we are talking about? Because if we are serious about what we are talking about, we should first of all even have a sitting. We discuss these are the things, because what was what was it in terms of when we said we are going to get 14 people to be able to discuss about the state of the nation, and about the issues that are affecting the opposition, and also the issues that are affecting the other people, and in general, or the Kenyan people.
Yeah.
So when actually you've not even started meeting, and we find people are actually having some other voices, this is actually the confusion I'm talking about. Kenya, we know right now, it is actually in a trajectory where we have actually been very low. But I think there are some few things. If people are serious and they want to see what is happening with the country, there are several things which are actually working. Though they may not be working at the speed that we may want, but at least there are quite some few steps which are positive. But I think when people want to bring voices and noise, they will actually not see what is even good in the country.
Okay, we will talk about those political, because I think now it's about politics. It's not really now about us or about Kenya. It's about political survival and lifeline of some people.
Yes.
And people seeking relevance. And I think Kenyans must see the selfishness in it.
True.
They need to shun away from this kind of leaders.
Correct.
But let's talk about the national debt, because now it has hit us hard. and we are talking about loans that have matured. And I was listening to one analysis yesterday, and they say 25% of all our national debts have matured.
Correct.
And 25% is equivalent to something like 2 trillion.
Correct.
2 trillion.
It's quite high, yes.
Our national budget is
around 3.6 trillion.
Trillion.
Yes.
And now we have another burden of 2 trillion.
Yes.
Over and above our national budget.
Correct.
Please try to tell us how we can really come out of this and how we can navigate this, because you also realize that salaries were delayed for the first time.
Correct, yes.
Civil servant salaries. And we are at a place now, okay, people are wondering, what next now? Are we becoming worse, or we going for better?
Well, the thing is, Leverett, and that's why we are saying that we need to come together as Kenyan to sort our own issues.
Yes.
Because it is very true, and people must accept one fact.
Yeah.
That there are debts which are there, and they must be paid.
Yeah.
There are other obligations for the country that must also be honored.
Yeah.
Because it is quite unfortunate right now that salaries have been delayed to the extent they have been delayed. But I listened also to the statement of the President of Kenya, and one thing that he said, and also the Deputy President, there is one thing they have said, is that they realize it is true that the salaries have been delayed, but they have a plan on how they are going to pay the same. So what they said is actually the debt, as you have lately said, the debt is actually, it has matured, and some of these debts you have to honor them. They are actually, in terms of the image of Kenya, even to the outer, to the other world, to the whole world.
Yeah.
If, for example, we don't honor our debts, our commitments, also in terms of what we had agreed, it can also affect Kenya, even in terms of the way forward, the going forward in terms of credibility of the country. And therefore, one of the things that happened, as you said, is that some of the debts, like now, let me say, like in the month of February, Kenya managed to raise around 178 billion. That is from what we get from the KRA. It was actually, and when you hear about 178 billion, you can see it is quite a big figure. So KRA are doing well in terms of correcting the monies. But now, what is happening, Leverett, is that out of that 178, around 36 to 40% of that figure had actually to go and pay the debts. This is what you are talking about. Around 60-something billion. It had actually to go and pay the debts. So once you look at so many commitments which are there, you realize, though the money is being corrected, our debts and our expenditure is actually higher than the revenues that we are actually collecting right now. And that's where you are finding the problem. And you see, one of the thing is, people, when they were actually signing for these debts, they did not incur, you see, the government, it did not actually feel the pain at that particular time. But when the debts are maturing, that is when, as Kenyan, we start feeling this weight. And that is what is happening. So you find that there is a lot that is happening in terms of the debts. There is a lot to be paid. And also you find like the counties also, in fact, the serious thing is that you see, like the counties, they have not gotten a lot of their monies. We are talking about some few delays for 1 month in the national government. But can I tell you, in terms of the county, we are talking about several more months. And that's where we are saying, and that's why I think you remember there is one time that our governor, Anyang' Nyong'o, he actually told the people, don't demonstrate here. You go to Nairobi and demonstrate there. And you can see the Nairobi governor, he had actually joined very fast. And he told Anyang' Nyong'o, that Nairobi is not where you are going to come and demonstrate.
Yes.
Let the people either stop demonstrating and we do the thing. You know why the governor Anyang' Nyong'o was actually saying that? Is because he knows there are some few things that he is doing in the county, especially in terms of generating revenues, which can help the county also to sort out some few things. I listened to the governor of Nairobi, and he said that on 28th, and it is something which is actually in the public domain. On 28th of every month, his staffs are always paid. So if you go to Nairobi then, if what he said is true, you realize that the county staff for Nairobi have no arrears. They have been paid.
And this is coming out of revenue collected.
Correct. The revenue which is being collected by the counties. And that's why we are saying, if we are not going to come together as Kenyan, it will be a problem. Because if, for example, you tell people not to work on Monday, you tell people not to work on Thursday, and you bring all this disruption, what we are saying is that it is true, we have a heavy burden to pay, but are we generating money even to pay small things? Because counties have the capacity to solve some few operational issues, but I can tell you, when there is a lot of disruptions, we are actually bogged down by the national debt, we are bogged down by the salaries, we are bogged down by so many things. And that's why we are saying it is very true that we are actually in a state which is not right now. But there is hope. As long as we sit down and we say Kenya is bigger than our own personal interest. Because what we are seeing here is actually some people want the government not to work. Some people want the government not to be seen to be doing anything. And this is where we are having a problem. But where we are, there are quite a number of things that we are seeing which are happening. And I will tell you, one of the things that we have seen yesterday, where was the deputy president? He had actually gone to Mombasa. Also, he had gone to Mombasa
to receive oil.
To receive
the oil. Government to government oil. We are coming to it.
Which is actually going to be like a credit, which is taking like around 6 months. So what we are saying is that there is a lot that is happening which is able to help Kenyan, but there is also a lot of noise which is trying to bring a lot of disruption. So let's accept Kenya, we have a lot of obligations to pay, but we cannot pay these obligations the way now the Kenya is being managed.
All right. So now we have 2 trillion to pay this year.
Correct.
You are making us to understand that this 2 trillion is not being paid at once. It's being paid in bits.
Correct.
Okay. So but at the end of the year we must have paid 2 trillion.
That is it.
Which is quite a burden upon us.
It is a big burden.
And okay. So that is where we are, and Kenya should understand. Let's look a little bit on the people that borrowed.
Correct.
Because our national debt has a history. They say when Moi was leaving office, we were in debt of like around a few billions.
It's also around 800 billion.
Something like that.
Correct.
Then when Kibaki was leaving office, it was
1.8 trillion. Yes.
Then Uhuru Kenyatta came, and when he was leaving office,
it was like around 8.7
trillion.
Yes.
So now you can see now. It's unfortunate that we are in this, and I don't know whether some and even the former president, whether he was aware that the maturity will come at this time and it will hit the country hard, because there's a time also, I think, some statements coming from him indicating that Kenyans will cry under the leadership of the new president. Is it because he knew what is coming and it will catch up with us and it will hit us hard?
Well, let me say that when you are signing for a debt, even for your own small debt, you already have the information. Because even when you go to the bank, they tell you that if you take a loan today, you are given like 30 or 45 days. From that particular time, you'll start paying. Between the time of 0 to 45 days, you don't feel the hit. So the president, by the time they were signing this document, they already knew this is where this debt is going to start counting. So he knew he will be out of power
by the
that
time it hits us.
Yes, correct, by that particular time. But you see, there is also something that, and yes, I listened to another thing, and it is quite bad. And I listened to some analysts, and they were saying one thing, that the problem that we have in Kenya is one thing. There is what we call the budget, and there is the economy. And many people don't differentiate about the budget and the economy. And they said one of the worst things that is happening in this country is because we budget corruption. In our budget.
It's a part of our budget.
It is part of our budget. And this corruption is whereby, can I tell you, even when you go and you find even the government is signing for a big loan, there is actually a commission that is paid to some people. Actually, and it is something which is agreed. So in all these loans, I can tell you for a fact, there is a lot of money that has been made by several people. So they were comfortable by that particular time because for them, their life is progressing.
Yeah.
And they don't care much about how to sort out the debts because another regime will come and it will be told, you signed for this,
you must pay,
whether it is you or it is not you.
So are you saying there could be some carelessness in signing the debts, because somebody says I will sign and get out of office?
Yes.
We will have done whatever we wanted to do and we'll be out of office, and it's a burden for another person. Could it have happened now from the previous regime?
It is true. In fact, let me give you a good example to show you that it happened that way. The former Prime Minister, Honorable Raila,
yes,
he talked about SGR, and there is some few things that he said.
And it is on record.
It is on record. And he said the people who initiated SGR program and the plan is actually himself and the former president, Mwai Kibaki, the late. And he said one thing. If you go to the records, you'll see it. And he said one thing, that the amount of money that they had agreed was
for
much
SGR.
lower. Yes, for SGR was much, much lower than the amount that
finally
was actually
paid.
Now, one of the things that, and the question he was asking, how comes, before the handshake, he was actually questioning that. He was asking, how comes that this money we had actually projected we will spend this, but this is the amount of money that was paid at last.
Yeah.
Jimmy Wajigi also brought that whole issue.
Yeah.
And he said, this amount of money that we were supposed even to pay was actually much lower than what we are actually seeing, and it was actually supposed to be from Mombasa to Naivasha. Actually, it was going to go very far. But you find that we spent more money than what is necessary. So what do you call that? It is what we are saying. It is budgeted corruption. There is a corruption which has been budgeted in that whole program. And this is exactly where we are saying people know what they are doing. They are actually getting monies from these shady deals. And they do it, so it is not developing the country. But they know that it is not them who will pay. It is you, it is me. And today is where we are. We are saying that we have like that 2 trillion which we are supposed to pay. But look at how did it come about. It is actually some people who signed it at that particular time. They made their commissions, they made their monies, but that commissions, even that they made, it is actually the Kenyans who are paying. And I realized I used to work in one company. I won't talk about the company, but it was also in the papers. That company, what it did is that, and I am equating that so that you see exactly the scenario that is in Kenya. That company used to import some products to this country. And do you know what used to happen? They created some accounts. They were called the New Jersey accounts. Those accounts, what they did is that before they bought goods, there is actually a percentage which used to be put in a foreign account, and now we are brought the products here in this country at a very high price.
Okay.
But do you know why the price is high? It is because some few men have already secured their cut from all the transactions which are happening. And I can tell you that is the question that even Honorable Raila and people like Akina Wajigi, they were actually questioning. Why is it that our projects are becoming very expensive? It is because several people, they signed for them, they knew that they were making money for today, but the Kenyan will cry. Like the way you said, Kenyans will cry one day.
And now, doesn't it really appear very hypocritical? Because now later, the Prime Minister that was questioning the cost of SGR, and they finally now came into government through the handshake, and then the debt ballooned, and the president now retired, the former president. The Prime Minister now is telling the country that we arise and demonstrate for the cost of living.
Let me say it is hypocrisy, and I would not fear to say that. You cannot be talking about the government state, the state of the government today, and the same state was there yesterday, and you did not speak about it. What does that tell us? It is actually personal interest. The time that Honorable Raila and our former president Uhuru, they sat down, they shook hands, what changed? Those debts did not change. Nothing much that had changed, but there was a silence in terms of now it is like things are okay. And when the regime changes, you now get to the other side and you start now talking about it. That's what we are saying. It is hypocrisy. And I can say what we have in this problem leveraged right now, it is not the problem with the Kenya. Kenya is generating money. It is actually a serious issue of lack of proper leadership. We have a poor leadership. And when I talk about the leadership, I'm not only talking about the government. I'm not talking about the Kenya Kwanza. I'm talking about our leaders. Because if, for example, you go to the national government, what is the composition? It is some member of parliament from Kenya Kwanza, member of parliament from Azimio, and many other independent parties. And that is where we are lacking leadership, whereby people are not truthful to themselves. Because let me give you a scenario. The handshake, when it came, if it is like this UGA we are talking about, it went to 230 shillings. They did not go to demonstrate. Right now, when they are demonstrating, the UGA has come from 230 to around 170, 180. So what is the truthfulness? What is it that you can tell us that when it is at 230, you cannot go on the streets to demonstrate? When it gets to 180, you are actually going to the streets. So what we are saying is that we are lacking proper leadership, and the leaders are taking Kenyans for a ride. And Kenyans must be serious and tell the leaders, you are misleading us.
Wow. That's powerful analysis, and it's good that you are calling it as it is.
True.
And David Ndi spoke this week.
Correct.
And we need to feature some of the things that he said. But before we talk about that, we want to take a short break, and then we will be back. My dear viewer, we are here talking about the state of the nation, state of our economy, and matters of leadership that pertain to this country. And it has come out clearly that there is a lot of hypocrisy in leadership, and whatever most of the leaders are telling us, it is not truthful, because we cannot see the reason behind what they are telling us. And Kenyans are accepting to be taken for a ride. And I think it is time, as Kenyans, we rise up and unite and know the truth and do the right thing. Our nation is going to be healed.
Correct.
We take a short break. We'll be right back.
Every year for the last 14 years, Redeemed Gospel Church Buruburu has been reaching out to the community by offering free medical care by staging a free medical camp. This year's free medical camp will be held from Friday, April 14th to Saturday, April 15th, 2023 from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. There shall be free general consultation, dental care including extractions, eye clinic, cancer screening and counseling. The venue will be Redeemed Gospel Church Buruburu along Robai Road next to Buruburu Girls. All medical checkups and treatment will be free. Do not miss a chance to experience the love of God through Redeemed Gospel Church Buruburu. Competent, licensed medics will be there for you. Karibuni nyote.
And welcome back to our conversation this morning on the state of the nation and the state of our economy and matters of leadership that cause a lot of concern to us as Kenyans. And as I had said earlier, David Kamau is here. He's a strategist in management and is helping us to break it down. And please join us, and if you have any comment, we are live on Facebook, we are live on YouTube, and you can always put your comment there, and we will sample some of the comments at the end of the telecast. And David Kamau, welcome back.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for helping us to understand some of these things from a strategic point of view. We listened to David D speaking this week.
Correct.
And he is in the government now. Previously, he was an activist.
Yes.
you know that.
True, yes.
But now he's in the government. And when he spoke, I don't know whether you noticed that the activist is still in him.
It is.
But he also is a genuine man.
Correct.
And he cannot call it otherwise.
Yes.
And one of the things that came out clearly is that government is doing a lot of wastage.
Correct.
And he's saying that that wastage is already budgeted. And what really broke the hearts of many Kenyans is that we can do nothing about it because it is systemized.
Yes, correct.
You can do nothing about it. And the president can do nothing about it. And I really wonder, did you listen to him?
Yeah, I did.
And what do you make of it?
Well, I think he was honest, as you have said. Which that honesty is good and also it is bad for this country. In the sense that when you put people in leadership, one of the things that they promised is that they are going to cause a change. And you can remember actually even the deputy president saying one thing, that I am going to bring down the cartels. And he actually started with a lot of force. But after some time, you find these cartels are still operating. I'll give you a good example. And that's why David D was actually saying the way he was saying. I realized what he was saying. You see, we have several governments in this country. There is the national government, but there are other government in terms of the county. You know, even a whole county is a government by its own. What has happened, and that's what he was saying.
And there are other arms of government also.
Yes. Yeah. So what he was saying is, look, some of these things, as you are saying, it's systematic. It is actually something in the system. If you go like to one county, or even to the national government, and you are awarded or you are doing a tender today, the processes which you go into or through for you want to get that tender, for you actually to have the tender, to do the tender and to be paid, there are so many things which are actually, budgeted for in that whole process. And one of the things that he was saying is that for us to be able to address what is happening in this country right now, it has to get to a point whereby you are saying, look, we need to do an overhaul in terms of our procurement policies. Because without actually having an overhaul in terms of the procurement processes, what will happen is that you will not be able to achieve what you are looking for. Therefore, it is a big thing, and it really needs a lot of force, such that we are going to say, if it is a governor in his office, there are some few things which are happening in that county, which he must come and say. You know, like I love this man, Siba Alati.
No, Simba Arati is doing a great work.
Yes, he is doing a great work. And that's why we are saying, for us, let's where people are doing a great work. Let's say that they are doing a great work.
Yeah.
Because this man, he went to that county. And it had a governor there before. But you see, one of the things that he realized is that the drivers were more in that county than even the vehicles which were available. In that
county, yes.
And he also realized there are so many ghost workers who are in the system. They were being paid, yet there was another government which was there, and they allowed things to happen. But when he came, he did not look to be popular. He didn't want to be popular. But he came and he said, some of these things, they have to stop. He came and said, some of the meetings we are attending here, these budgets, they have to come down.
Yeah.
And that is what we are saying. At the end of the day, we need people, men and women, who are going to stand and say, it doesn't matter. You can kill me. You can do whatever you want to do. You can push me out. If you want to give me only 5 years to serve you, I am ready for that. And I will make sure that I make the country work. Right now, as we see, Siba Alati, and it's a good example we are talking about.
Yeah.
He is a man who is actually saying, I will be able to work with the authority, not just to tell them you are doing a great work when you are not doing a great work, but I will work together with the national government to be able to ensure that there is a program, there is development in this country, in this county. And what we are saying is that he is doing a lot in terms of fighting the corruption and many other deals which are not light. Now, what we need in this country is several Siba Alati. Because we may talk about the national government alone, but the corruption, and they said another, it is unfortunate that it has also been devolved from the national government. It has been devolved down to the counties. So if we can get some few Siba Alati in this country who are going to say, I am not interested in what you are saying. I was chosen by my people to work for them. If you are not going to toe the line, then we are not going to be friends. And these are the things that we are saying. We cannot continue with the wastefulness that we are having in this country. And that's why it cannot only happen with the presidency. You know, in terms of that presidency. This corruption and wastefulness, it really needs to go down to the relevant departments. And if we have some departments where people are not bought in terms of doing the right things, that's where it becomes so difficult for even the president to do much.
That's good analysis. And we had the president talk about the dollar, the cost of shilling. The shilling against the dollar. That the rate is going down to around 120.
Correct.
And this he attributed it to the fuel that is coming, so that we don't release the 5 billion, 500 billion dollars.
Yes, correct.
For every month. It was something like that.
It was something like that.
Yeah. And then it's going to ease the demand on the dollar, and then the rate is going to. How do you make of it, and how will it affect us as Kenyans?
Well, let's also give a very positive analysis. I like also saying a practical thing. Last month, there is a transaction that we were doing, and it was actually sending some dollars. There is something we were purchasing from South Africa, and we were sending some dollars to that company. And I will tell you the big impact. What he is talking about is not a mirage. It is something that is easy to happen, and it is going to happen. Last month, on 25th, that is 25th allowed there of March.
Yeah.
We sent some dollars and we purchased them at 141 shillings. That is $1. This week, we have sent more dollars to the same company. And you know what? From 141, we have actually sent the same dollar at 137. That is, it has reduced from 141
to
137. People may not see.
And this is practical.
It is practical. I'm telling you. It is something which I have done. It is a transaction which I have done.
Yeah.
It has moved from 141 to 137.
As we are speaking.
As we are speaking. So there is actually something.
A downward trend.
There is a downward trend. Now let me tell you, and that is where they say.
Yeah.
Price, the setting of the price.
Yeah.
It is actually set through the market forces.
Yeah.
And that's where we say the demand and the supply.
Yeah.
It is actually a very strong thing. If, for example, you find there is a shortage, the price always goes up.
Yeah.
If there is a plenty, excess, the price will always come down. So what is it that the president is talking about? Is that at the end of the day, you are supposed to be setting, because we are transacting in this country in dollars, many foreign currencies. We are transacting in that. So you are supposed actually to look for all those dollars to be able to pay for the imports and the debts which are supposed to be paid in dollars.
Yeah.
But what is going to happen is that, fuel alone, it has been taking around 30% of our dollars. The fuel alone. So what they are doing is actually they are easing the demand in terms of the dollars, such that 30% will actually not be an immediate push every other month that you are supposed to be sending these dollars. So what will happen is that there will be a good reserve in terms of the dollars. And you had even the president for Tanzania.
Yeah.
The president of Tanzania, she said that her country is better than all our countries here. Actually, it is better than Uganda. It is better than Kenya. You know why she was saying that? It is because he has a reserve for 4 months, US dollars. And at particular time, she was saying, like the Kenyan counterpart, they cannot actually even be able to go even for a month with what they have the reserves as dollars. So that one really affected us. But because of what they are doing right now, what you'll find is that there will be more dollars in the country. And as we say, the supply and the demand, that dollar price is actually going to come down. We have seen it coming down, not the way we want, but I can tell you with what they are doing right now, it is going to be able to go after some few months. You'll be able to see dollar stabilizing at that kind of a price that we're talking about.
We are also running out of time.
Yes.
And there are many things. Today is a long day with so many activities, especially here at our church in Redeemed Gospel Church Buruburu.
Yes.
But a direct question: when do you see the cost of living coming down? Because I can see the president is deliberate about some of the things that he's doing. And David D talked about the wastage in government. Do you see the president cracking the whip on the ministry spending and wastage? And again, now, when do you predict we will finally see the cost of living coming down?
Well, I would say that the president has already done something. And that's why I said our mind, we need just to be saying what is positive, what is negative. We need just to mention it. I can tell you, even in terms of the budget, the budget that we are going to hear, they are going to lead the budget within some few months. Actually, very few months. They have actually brought down some of unnecessary. Actually, they have actually, out of the budget, they have gotten like around 300 billion.
Out of the budget.
And they say this is actually wasteful. and we cannot allow it. You know what they have done? And I like what this government is doing. And let me say, I like something I can see. There is what we call the performance management system. And this is what they have been doing. And I love this man, Mudavadi. He is actually a man who is focused on what he is doing.
Okay.
This man, he has been sitting with the ministries and going through their line items and establishing what is necessary in this department and what is not necessary. This tells you there are some few leaders in this country who are very serious in bringing down and making sure this wastage is actually not in the system. And you know, it doesn't matter how much you do. I love one lady, and she passed on, but that her words are always vivid. They are actually real in our hearts every time. You remember Wagari Maathai?
Yes.
Wagari Maathai talked about a bird. You remember the hummingbird? She talked about this bird that it showed there was fire in the forest. And this bird, what it did, it knew there was an ocean. And it can go and it can get some water to try and
put out the
fire. One bird, it actually did what it was supposed to do for a very long time. It is going on the peak and it goes, gets some small water and takes it to the forest. It may not be able to quench the fire, but look at the act itself. It is determination. And it is saying any other animals, there is the elephant, it can actually carry more water, but it did not see the necessity to go and do like the hummingbird. So what we are saying is that there are some few readers who are saying, I have been given a position I will do whatever it takes. It may not be that much, but there is something I can make a difference on. And that's what we need from our leadership.
This is the last thing that you have now to tell us something about it. And this is about Honorable Raila, Mother Karua, and Kalonzo Musyoka, and those who are with him. The country is already in a problem. Are they celebrating our problems, or they are helping us to solve our problem? Because I thought when a nation is in crisis, and the crisis we have, we know it is not this government that is in power that brought the crisis. We know they have just found themselves in a situation. When there is a national crisis, doesn't it need the support, concerted efforts from all leaders, so that because the country belongs to all of us?
Correct.
And but it looks like there is somebody who is riding on the misfortune of our country to make a name for himself. What can you say to Honorable Raila and his team that are organizing demonstrations, instead of sitting down with the president and bringing ideas on the table and putting unity? You know, during the time of Moi, when there was a bomb blast, Moi had to ride in the same car with the opposition so that they go to the bomb site. There was unity. We are in such a crisis now, and yet the opposition, Honorable Raila and his team, instead of appearing to be helping the president to solve the problems of the country, they are on a war path to make matters worse. And what can you say, and what should they do, and what should we expect of them when the nation is in a crisis like it is in?
Reverend, I don't know even whether really to say more than what you have said, because it is actually a very bad mentality, a very bad thing that is happening with our opposition right now. You see, there are several people who have died during the first few demonstrations. Whether you say it is police, whether you say it is who, one life lost is such a big loss to this country.
And it's very sad.
It is very sad for all of us. There are some few people right now, they were actually doing very well. But right now, as we speak, they cannot feed their families. Why? It is because some few people, goons, and that's why we are saying there is nothing like a peaceful demonstration in this country.
Yeah.
Something happened. The time they were talking about the peaceful demonstration in Kenya, it was also happening in South Africa. Look at the way South Africa people demonstrated and the way Kenyans people demonstrated. It is a total, it's like north and south. We are saying, and we need to ask our leaders, especially the opposition, when you actually give some few statements whereby, for example, do you know how much every other day that we miss in this country by doing this demonstration? Every day, and go and do the statistics. Every day the country is supposed to be correcting around 9 billion. One single day.
One single day.
When you go on the roads and you disrupt the businesses and every other thing, what you are saying is that you have deprived the economy around 9 billion.
Yeah.
And when you talk about bringing down the price of unga, when you are depriving the economy 9 billion, is that a way of bringing down the price of unga, or you are pushing people even to more problem? So these people, I can say, and I am telling you, they are sadists.
Yeah.
They are people who need to go to God and pray to God, because they are used by the enemy to disrupt this country in terms of bringing Kenyans together, because there are so many families. Reverend, I will tell you, when we continue with this demonstration, there are so many families which will go hungry. If you ask like someone like Honorable Raila, the time that we were on the streets, not us, many the Kenyans people were on street, his company, the workers were actually at work.
They were found inside.
They were actually generating money for him. You find someone like the former president, his 7 hotels in this country, none of them was closed. His banks, like NCBA, none of the staff were not working. So you see what is happening. They are telling us to go to the streets, yet them they are generating money every day. Every month, the members of parliament for Azimio, they actually contribute some money towards like the members of the ODM. They contribute money to the party for Honorable Raila. So this man is actually making money every other day. There is what we call passive money, whether he is working or not working. So we are not the same. Them, they will be on the streets, but money, they are making money, passive money. Another person is on the street making zero. So what are they doing? They don't love this country. It is a lie. And that's what we are saying. Let there not be hypocrisy. What the oppositions are doing right now is not what we need in this country. We need to come together as one country, and we forge forward caring for the people who put us in power.
Wonderful. Thank you. We must come to a conclusion of our conversation today. Kenya as a nation, we are in an economic crisis. Our debt responsibility is too high, and the president is doing everything that is in his power to steer this country forward in the midst of the challenges that we are in. It is true that the debt that the president is shouldering to pay is not his own debt. He found it signed by others, and is doing everything as a national leader to ensure that the economy is moving forward. What we expect of every other leader in the country, including Honorable Raila, Kalonzo Musyoka, Martha Karua, and every other person who really cares about this country, they need now to begin to offer solutions and team up with the president so that we can bring solution to our country. And that is what will turn around the situation of our country. And what we are learning here is that as leaders, we should shove away selfishness. Let it not be about ourselves, and let us not begin to build name for ourselves out of the misfortune that our country is in. Don't make yourself a champion with the poverty and the debts that we have. We need to come together and help the president to navigate the country through this difficult time. We come to the end of our conversation today, and every viewer that watched, thank you so much for watching Leadership and the State of the Nation here live on EBN TV. David Kamau, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you
and
very
everybody
much,
else, I wish you a wonderful day ahead of you, and keep watching EBN. It is good that I mentioned here that the church, the Redeemed Gospel Church Buruburu, is hosting a 2-day free medical camp. We are treating people for free. We are providing drugs. We have put together a team of medics that can take care of the community for today, Friday, and Saturday tomorrow. So if you're watching this telecast and you happen to hear about it, send anybody that is in need, because we are all set for the free medical camp. You are welcome, and God bless you. Keep it EBN. Until next time, God bless you.
Amen.